Hi everyone, here's a quick video just to walk us through the new Gmail setup because it's slightly different to the previous versions of Gmail. First of all, once you've signed into your Gmail for the first time, you probably won't see a view like this, and that's because I've configured my inbox slightly differently. And the way you do that is to go to the settings cog, which is right here. If you click on settings, you can configure your inbox, and that allows you to choose which tabs are visible. So you can see I've got primary, social, updates and forums there. And it gives you examples so you can see what kind of things might be included in those. So you can choose to either turn them on or turn them off again, very, very simply. And whether you want them included in your primary inbox, which is the one that you will open first of all. So you have a choice over that. That's the first thing. So here I've got all my primary emails that are directed straight at me. Here I've got everything that's linked to social media. Here I've got anything about things that have been shared with me. And here I've got anything that's part of a large group or a forum or anything like that. Okay. And again, that's in the settings cog. Also under settings, under the settings cog, you've then got the option for themes, which allows you to personalize what your background looks like. You can import images of your own, or you can choose ones that you particularly like, or you can leave it plain. It's entirely up to you. But any changes you make, obviously, you save. In the settings itself, if we open up that cog, we'll see a large number of tabs along the top here. I'm going to start with general, and obviously at the moment we're set to English UK, and our default country code is the United Kingdom. You can decide how many emails you show per page. Personally, 50 is plenty for me. How you display certain images, and this is one that I would thoroughly recommend people turn on. It's not turned on as a default, so when you first come here it will be set to nothing. You have the option of 5, 10, 20 or 30 seconds. Why anyone would choose less than 30, I don't know, but that means that any email you send, you have a 30-second window to call that back. And the way that works is you will get an alert down here when the email is sent that will say, message being sent, do you want to undo, or words to that effect. You can choose your default behavior, and you can choose whether you want to allow Google Smart Compose to work with you. And that's really useful as the machine learning starts to understand exactly what you're trying to say. You can decide whether you want your conversation view on or off, whether you would like nudges, so for things that you haven't replied to for a while or other people haven't replied for you, they will come back into your inbox as a reminder. And also we can hover over actions to make them happen rather than needing to actually go in and action things themselves. And I've got Smart Reply on as well, which starts to understand how I generally tend to reply to emails and starts to suggest things for me. You can choose to have your stars. You can either have 1 star, which is just the yellow, 4 stars, which is the yellow, the blue, the tick and the exclamation mark, or all stars. And you can choose how you classify each email by clicking on those. So if I go to my inbox, you will see here are all my starred emails. Here's my inbox. If I click on the star there, it takes the star off. Click again, turn it blue. Click again, click again. So I've got the 4 set up at the moment. And as you can see, I'm just hovering over these, and that hover actions is allowing me to decide what I want to do with it. The snooze button is particularly useful. If something drops in and you're not ready to deal with it at the moment, or you're off on holiday or whatever it might be, you can choose to snooze that to another time or select a specific state of time. It goes away from your inbox and comes back in at the time that you ask it to. So let's go back to those settings. And then down the bottom here, obviously you've got the option for your profile picture and for your signature, your indicators, and also your out of office, okay, which is really, really useful. And any changes you make, you click save changes down the bottom here. So that's general. Labels is basically your folders, and some of them are already set up. So starred is showing, snoozed is showing, important is showing, but chats is hidden for me at the moment, as is all mail, spam and bin. Inbox shows as default. If you want to add a label, all you do is you come down here to labels and you create new label. and you can decide what you want to call it. You can decide where you want to nest it. So I might decide to put it under my G Suite Education and click create, and that creates a new label for me. So when we drop over here, you see that we've got Gmail training sitting underneath as a subfolder within the G Suite Edu. Okay. Then another alternative way of getting back into our inbox, accounts and import if you want to bring things through from other email accounts, and then filters and blocked addresses. And this is quite a handy way of organizing your Gmail without having to worry too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new filter, and I'm going to include the word with that training, so that anything that comes in with the word training in, I'm going to create a filter that is going to apply the label Gmail training or G Suite Edu. And I know that any email coming in about training is going to go into that label. I don't want it to skip my inbox. I don't want to mark it as read, but I've got that option to create that filter, and then everything will pull through to that particular training. It will also pull through anything previously. So if I go to G Suite Edu, you can see this one somewhere in there will mention the word training, and that's why it's pulled it through into that particular folder. Once again, we go back to the settings, and we have the option for add-ons, and we have the option for chat. I like to have my chat on, and it appears down the right hand side for me. As a default, it normally appears down the left, and that's where we use advanced to enable some additional features. So I personally like the right side chat and the preview pane to be able to see some different aspects. Canned responses are really useful if you're constantly sending similar email responses. So for example, if you're sending out information about a trip and you keep getting people emailing you asking for the same information, you can set that up as a canned response and choose that to go. You can run multiple inboxes, and you can also have an unread message icon, which means up here in the window, just over the Gmail envelope, you would have a little number recorded of how many unread emails you've got. Not one I particularly like to be reminded of. So again, you just save changes there, and away you go. And finally, depending on your domain, you may have the option to enable offline mail, which means you can work offline with your emails without having to worry about being on a Wi-Fi. You're able to continue working, and then it will sync once you've done so. Okay. So if we go back to our inbox, you can see up the left-hand side here, we've got what we call the hamburger. If I click on that, it opens up this sidebar. I click on it again, it closes it. But all I have to do is hover over and it will open up temporarily. So you've got your sent items, your snoozed items, your important items, and everything else is down there. So everything is here amongst it. And over here, you can toggle the split pane mode, whether you like it or not. So it's entirely up to you. On the right hand side, you've got immediate access to your calendar. Just remember to do that later. You've got access to Google Keep, and you've also got access to tasks, which you can tick off, like this one I'm doing at the moment. As soon as I tick that, it becomes one of my completed actions. I can undo it if I need to, but it's a nice way of being able to keep track of everything. If I then decide I need to do something else, it might be, for example, I need to respond to this email, I just drag it over, pop it in, and that becomes a task for me. Okay, and there we go. That's a walk through Gmail.